Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. My name is Steve Smith, and I'm your host, and I've got a bonus. This is a bonus episode of John Deere Golf Keeper of the Greens. It's another something special, another something different. I'm catching up with young greenkeeper Josh Smith. Now, Josh is from the UK, and Josh is right now over in the States, in the US of A, at Sawgrass for the Players Championship. He's over there working as a volunteer on course, and Josh, I've got to know Josh a little bit over the last couple of years. He's a great young bloke, and we've chatted on and off for a couple of years now about all the places that he's been and where he's worked, because incidentally, we first got in touch when he came to work at Glenelg Golf Club here in Adelaide in Australia. And you know that I think Glenelg is fantastic. I've had Superintendent Tim Warren of Glenelg on the podcast in the past. I'm a big fan of Glenelg and what they're doing and where they're going to go. But catching up with Josh over the years and chatting about his experiences and all the different things that he's doing with his career in greenkeeping. Like I mentioned, he hasn't been around for 30 or 40 years. He's a young bloke getting out there, doing his time, experiencing a lot of things, taking it all in, learning the trade in all sorts of different levels. And that's one of the things that I wanted to chat with Josh about, apart from a couple of other different topics along the way, which you'll hear about. But he's doing a lot of tournament golf. He's experiencing a lot of tournament golf as a volunteer, and you're going to hear a lot about that. You're going to hear about his career, where he's working at the moment, and also the tournament stuff. And he's at the time we recorded, he was just about to fly out to Sawgrass. Now, it is John Deere Golf that I have this fantastic partnership with that allows me to continue these wonderful conversations and bring these insights to you from around the country and now, as it turns out, around the world. So excited by our partnership. And of course, you've probably heard me talk about in the past the wonderful GPS sprayers that John Deere have available in the marketplace that are out there and certainly being utilised by a number of golf courses around the country. I think the technology is outstanding. It's actually quite incredible if you ask me. But the GPS sprayer is something pretty special. And you know what? If you want to elevate your golf course spraying experience, the John Deere Pro Gator GPS Precision Sprayer is what you're looking for. Enjoy effortless operation through their auto track guidance system, enhanced accuracy with individual nozzle control, and the assurance of improved tracking and management of your spraying tasks with their reliable Starfire receiver, where you can track and manage your spraying efforts with confidence. And that's something very special indeed about these GPS sprayers. The auto track guidance system, like I mentioned, is something very special with the individual nozzle control. And you'll hear people that I've spoken to, and you'll hear people that you meet that have got these GPS sprayers, and they'll tell you how good these things are. I'm talking about them, obviously, with my partnership with John Deere, so there's no secrets in that. These GPS spray units that John Deere have are unbelievable pieces of equipment. Make sure you check out deere.com.au, DEERE, where you can go and check out more information about the GPS sprayer online through their website, or you can find out where your local dealer is and who that is that you need to get in touch with to go knock on their door, give them a call and say, hey, I want to know more about these GPS sprayers because we're looking to upgrade. It's time for us to get a new piece of equipment for our spraying gear, and this is what we're considering. So check them out, get in touch with your local dealer, and find out how John Deere can help you look after your golf course better with the wonderful John Deere Pro Gator GPS Precision Sprayers. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy this one. Something a little bit different. This isn't an Australian. This isn't somewhere in Australia, but it is something very unique. And I'm very glad to finally be able to chat with Josh Smith on the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast on John Deere Golf Keeper of the Greens. This is episode number 111. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just going to jump straight in, and I welcome to the podcast Josh Smith from the UK. Is that broad enough, Josh, from the UK? How you doing, mate?
Thanks. How are you, Steve? Thanks for having me on.
No worries, mate. Thank you for coming on. Whereabouts in the UK can I say you're from? Can you tell us roughly?
Piltdown Golf Club, which is in the southeast of England.
Okay, there we go, Piltdown. Now, something there is, there's no bunkers on Piltdown. Is that right?
Yeah, there's not a bunker at all. It's all just heathlands.
Yeah, heathland stuff. Some of your images, mate, that you've shown on course, and it looks pretty awesome. What's your position there at Piltdown?
Currently a assistant greenkeeper there.
Very good, mate. Sensational. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about your career, your experience in Australia, and a couple of other points that I want to chat with you about, and some of that is your big tournament stuff. What are you preparing for? You're packing right now, mate. What are you packing for?
Currently, back home in England, it's 9 o'clock here, and this is the night before I'm flying out to TPC Sawgrass, so currently packing for that.
So you're going to be working on course at the Players?
Yeah, in about 3 days' time.
Yeah, wow, that's bloody exciting, mate. There's going to be a lot of people that are interested at home watching the Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass. We all know the golf course. Lots of people know it. Lots of people love it. It's got some wonderful features. You're going to be on the ground prepping for this thing, mate. So we'll dive into that a little bit too. You've got some great other experiences in volunteering at tournament events, and we'll go through that as well, mate. But look, let's start off as we do with a little bit of fun with Steve's Super 7 questions, mate. You ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go, mate. Let's have it.
Let's do this. All right, number one, sunrise or sunset? And you've experienced lots here, mate, so I'm curious, all over the world.
I have to say sunrise, and primarily because, one, just like being out in the mornings, but when I worked at Glenelg, Tim, the superintendent you've had on, called me the sunrise king.
Tim Warren, Superintendent Tim Warren down there at Glenelg. There you go. So sunrise, good stuff. Number two, dogs or no dogs allowed on the golf course, mate? What are your thoughts on this one in your vast travels?
So, worked at a few clubs now. I'd probably have to lean on the side of having dogs on the course, but I think it depends on what course you're at.
Sure.
More than anything.
Yep.
So, like currently Piltdown, like we allow dogs. I think it's quite a nice thing. But like people obviously play golf, walk a dog. And we have quite a few public footpaths that run through the golf course too.
Okay.
So like every morning and every evening, you'll see quite a few people just walking the dog who aren't necessarily a member, but obviously can use the golf course for that benefit.
Okay, that's interesting. Very good. And do golfers, are they walking their dogs as well when they're playing?
Yeah, get quite a few who take a dog out.
That's cool. Very interesting. Mate, number three, stripes or no stripes on fairways? This could be interesting.
I'm going to have to say no stripes in that one. I quite prefer the sort of minimal look to fairways.
Yep. Okay. And you've probably seen plenty of stripes in some tournaments too, no doubt.
Yeah, a few here and there.
Number four, painted hole lips or not painted?
I'm going to have to say probably not painted hole cups.
Okay.
Just because I think even though it looks really nice, it's just the maintenance of it. Like day in, day out. Yep.
Number five, mate, your favourite grass variety in all of your travels and experiences. And this is why I wanted to chat with you, mate, because there's going to be some cool things here that you're going to tell us and let us on in some of the stuff you've seen and experienced.
So, Bantaran Cooch is one of the favourites.
Yes.
If not the favourite.
Yes, good stuff. Good call.
Just because of like how resilient it is, and just like the surface it is when it's all just mown, it's such a pure surface.
Yep.
And you can mow it so short, and it's still just as good.
Yeah, mate, it's pretty special. I certainly am a mega fan. Number six, preferred style of golf course. Now these are Aussie selections, and I'm not sure how much you know about these ones, but we'll see how we go. Number one is New South Wales Golf Club here in Sydney, in the eastern suburbs on the cliffs. Number two is Royal Adelaide, which you probably have had potentially seen in your time down there in Adelaide. We'll talk about that. Number three is Joondalup in Western Australia. You might have even had time to Google this in past as well. Joondalup in WA, the wild features of the Quarry course, the Lakes course, and the dunes there course 3 9-holers, mate. What are your thoughts on those three? What's your preferred style?
Yeah, all great courses, but I'd probably have to go Royal Adelaide on that one.
Fair enough. Did you get a chance to see Royal Adelaide?
I was lucky enough to play it on New Year's Day a couple of years back when I was out there.
Get out. You got one up on me. Fair dinkum. What did you think?
Yeah, it's
what's it like to play?
Pretty special. Oh, it's just incredible. Like, so you see the photos online, and it just doesn't even do it justice.
Yeah, right.
It's such a special place, and just like how it's laid out, and just kind of the aura it has about it is just like you can't really describe it. It's just one of those golf courses.
Yep. Very good. Yeah, that's how a lot of people just say it. Is it's just one of those special golf courses, right? That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, the final one, mate. Number 7. Which golf course in Australia would you like to visit tomorrow, and why? So that's pretty wide and pretty broad for an international greenkeeper. What are your thoughts there, mate?
Probably a bit of like a one you wouldn't get, but I think normally I would say 7 Mile Beach, but I think it'd have to be Glenelg.
Ooh, okay. Glenelg.
Just to like see how it's changed.
Yep. And I did see it only a couple of weeks ago, mate, and it's pretty damn special. I've got to be honest. It's getting more special every time they do work there. And, yeah, mate, you've got some experience. So we're going to talk about that. But there you go. Glenelg is one that you want to get back and see. Great stuff, mate. Thank you for Steve's Super 7. Bit of fun. Now, Josh, let's get back into understanding a bit about your story, a bit about your greenkeeping career, obviously in the UK, and I can probably safely assume that that's where you started your career. Mate, tell us a little bit about that, how you got into it, and how you got into it in the UK, and I know travelling to Australia, getting into Glenelg, and a little bit about your time travelling around in your greenkeeping.
Yeah, so I started playing golf when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and then just kind of enjoyed it more because just like the individual side of it, and just preferred that over like team sports at the time, being like a young kid.
Yep.
And then just kind of played loads of golf growing up, as you do here in the UK, and then like finished school, did all my exams, and then it was wanted to go down like the golf coaching route, like professionally.
Yep.
So I went off to college doing that, but I got into greenkeeping like as a summer job, just starting out.
Okay.
So did that for about 3 months or so after I'd finished my exams in school when I was 16, and then went down to college, like I said, doing a sports science course along with golf in the hopes of turning professional. And then a couple of years on, the golf coaching wasn't working out, just wasn't quite at the level where I needed to be, and then just needed a job. And it just so happened I was doing the greenkeeping on the side, and I thought, well, I enjoy doing it. Like in the summer, I'll just carry on doing it, and then went full time at 18, and I've been doing it, 7 years now, full time.
Okay. So
since then,
how long does it take to get qualified over there in the UK?
So you've got your level 2, which takes about 18 months to 2 years to get done. And then you move on to your level 3. Again, another sort of 18 months to 2 years. Okay,
so similar kind of to here, which is 4 years in total. 3 years that includes your theory, if you like, at TAFE, and then the final year of Pracken, or there or thereabouts. So about a similar kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not too dissimilar.
So where can I ask you any of the courses that you worked on during that time, briefly in your time?
Yes, I started off at a golf course called East Sussex National, which is in Uckfield, where I'm currently working now. It's about 10 minutes down the road from Piltdown.
Okay.
And I was there for my sort of couple of years on and off as a seasonal, and then moved into a full-time role there for 3 years. And then June 2021, moved to a golf course called Tandridge in Surrey. And I was there for just over a year. And then this is back in March 2022 now. I saw the job advertisement for Glenelg pop up on Facebook.
Yep.
And it sort of just like appealed to me, just obviously getting to travel, see Australia, which is something I kind of wanted to do, having known a few people who have been and done it themselves. So that is, like I said, it appealed to me because of that.
Yep.
And then over the next sort of probably 2 to 3 months, reached out to Tim and Graham, who are the course superintendent and assistant superintendent out there at the time. Tim's still there. And then, just sort of, like I said, reached out to them and had a Zoom call interview with them, and then just went from there. And it was just a case of sorting out visas and flights and all of that, and then moved out there end of September 2022, and then I was out there for 6 months on a seasonal role.
And what was that like, mate? Doing the travel, the expedition, if you like, from the UK. Have you done anything like that in your life to that point?
So that was the first time moving out of home for myself, and I was 22, and I turned 23 just a week after I got out there. So yeah, it was sort of a big thing for me to do at the time.
Sure.
Because I'd like never done it, and I never probably would have thought I'd done it that early on.
Yep.
And like I say, it was a bit of a, I wouldn't say like last minute, but it wasn't like I hadn't planned it very far in advance.
Yep.
In the time, obviously, I took from like applying for the job to then moving out to Australia.
Sure. So you get on a plane in the UK, mate. It's all better off. You've already got your ticket. You're on your way. What was it like touching down? I assume did you fly direct to Adelaide? Can you fly direct to Adelaide? Probably not. You got to go to Sydney or Melbourne and then transfer.
So yeah, I went from London Heathrow to Dubai, and then it was layover in Dubai for like 4 or 5 hours, and then a flight from Dubai to Melbourne after that.
And then transfer and go to Adelaide.
Yeah.
What was that like, mate? Everyone talking funky accents and everything in Australia compared to what you're used to, and getting into. Look, let's be honest. As much as I'm a big fan of Adelaide, it really is a giant country town. You're the big smoke of Melbourne, and then you go to Adelaide. You're like, wow, what's going on here? What was that like?
Yeah, I'd say
what was the welcome like from the team? Tim, Tim's a fantastic individual. He's been on the podcast, like you said. He's a great human being, and what was that like getting into the team and then getting on with work? What you were there to do? Yeah,
so it probably took me like a couple of weeks to sort of find my feet, settle. Obviously, work side of it, and obviously moving to another country by myself took a bit of an adjustment, and a bit of a shock to the system early on. But no, yeah, the team was just like great. Everyone was so welcoming, like just made it so easy. And like the assistant superintendent there at the time, Graham Davidson, he had like a spare room in his flat, so I just ended up sharing with him for the 6 months I was out there. So he just made everything so easy in terms of obviously having a place to stay, getting to and from work. So like Graham himself and said Tim and the rest of the guys and girls there just made it like such an easy like move over, and they're all so welcoming, which is great to see.
How was it understanding the landscape, the turf, the climate? You've gone from the miserable, all we ever hear about is England's miserable weather and cold and rainy most of the time. Coming to Adelaide, the driest capital city in the country. Talk about a shock to the system. Yeah.
No, it wasn't too bad because, the UK is known for it's wet and windy and not pleasant conditions. But ironically, the summer before I moved out, it was like the hottest summer in the UK.
So it was what, 22 degrees?
No, we had believe it or not, it was like 38. We had for a week.
No way!
Few days.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a heat wave where it was I think over a 2 week spell, there was 4 or 5 days where it was 38, and then the rest was low 30s.
That's really unusual for you guys, isn't it?
2 months. Yeah, just obviously UK is normally mid to low 20s in the summer.
Yep.
With a lot of rain.
Yeah, wow.
And then obviously moving to Australia, it was the first month and a half I was out there, it was not the best weather, pretty cold and wet for Adelaide. And then it was about middle of November, it just switched. So it just went from obviously being wet and windy to hot and dry.
Yep.
As Adelaide is known for.
Yep.
So
that's cool. That's cool.
Like I said, it was good. It was great weather. So.
And what did you think of the landscape? What's it like? What's that like? Was it very different to what you might have thought, or how did that come across?
Landscape was probably fairly similar to a lot of courses out here, because Glenelg gets I'd say an inland links sort of style course.
Yep.
Or kind of gives you that sort of feeling when you play it or work there. So that wasn't too much of an issue because, like I said, we've got a lot of links course back here in
For sure.
the UK.
Yeah.
So, like I said, so never worked on a proper links before, but that was probably the closest I'd come to working at one when I was at Glenelg.
Yep. And the experience of straight into construction, more or less. I mean, there's a lot going on. That's still going on. It's nearly done, mate, and it looks bloody impressive. I absolutely love what's going on at Glenelg. It's really going to be punching well above its weight when it's finished. What's that like, getting that experience in doing that type of work, construction, rebuild? Had you done that before in the UK?
So I've done like bunker rebuilds and just sort of like reshaping like around greens and tee complexes, but I've never gone to the extreme of being involved with a full course enhancement where it's rebuilding greens, full irrigation, all new bunkers, where it's a lot more like in depth.
Yep.
And more hands on.
Yep.
But no, that was all a really good experience, and another reason why the job out there at Glenelg as a seasonal kind of attracted me, just because of what I could learn and what I did learn.
Of all the places you could have gone, why Australia?
Just because, I think mainly because, like I said before, I knew of a couple of guys one I worked with when I was at East Sussex National when he moved out to Manly Golf Club in Sydney.
Oh yeah, it's down the road from me. Yeah,
like two or 3 years, I think, before I moved out there, and sort of seeing what his experience was like. Just kind of, like I said, it just made me want to do it even more.
Yeah,
just to kind of get out there and see what it was like, and more just for the travelling side of it.
Yep. Did you were 6 months, you mentioned, at Glenelg? Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, 6 months. Yeah, October 2022 to March 2023.
Okay. So you got to experience all of summer, basically, in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Welcome to first grade.
Definitely. So, yeah. So it was a bit of a shock to the system when you got into like the high 30s.
Every day, right? In a row.
Yeah, not far off.
What's something that you liked about the course at Glenelg that really stood out, that you might have been part of building, or that you just an inherent part of the golf course? What's something that you liked about it?
Probably, I'd say, like being able to kind of be lucky enough to be involved with like building some of the greens there.
Yeah, okay.
And just redesigning the holes. Like, so when I first started there, we were finishing off the 14th hole, which is a par 3. So just like doing a bit of mowing on the green, doing sort of the last few touch-ups on the bunker edges, and just a bit of turfing at the front of the fairway. And then a few weeks after I got there, we started on the second hole, par 5. So that was, again, green rebuild, irrigation works. And that was a really sort of like nice way to start sort of the first month there, being involved with all that work on the second.
Yeah, okay. That's cool.
I'd probably say my favourite part of it was rebuild, or being involved with rebuilding the 12th green, just because of the...
That is just one of the coolest greens.
How we changed it, sorry.
One of the coolest greens in Australia. Dead set.
Yeah.
That is off its head.
Yeah, definitely.
That is one of the most incredible things I've ever seen done on a golf course. And I don't even know how to describe. It's like a wicked boomerang, but it's just the features are just staggering.
I say, and obviously it changes, or the dynamic of how you play that hole in relation to where the pin is on that green just makes a massive difference. So what I remember on that green, obviously, like I say, got that little a long bit at the front that cambers round to the right hand side down that little bowl. So you could like put a pin down there, or put the pin on the left at the back, and it just changes how you play that hole entirely.
Yep. Where you want to be on your approach.
Such a cool green.
Yeah, where you want to be on your approach to the green, whether you want to have a long shot in and feed the ball really well using the contours of the green if you get to know it well enough. It's just spectacular. It goes down in my mind as one of the coolest greens we have in this country. It's sensational.
Yeah, definitely.
What else did you get to see in your time here in Australia? Many other golf courses or much other parts of the country at all? Or you were in here for that, saw a little bit in Adelaide and then you took off?
Yeah, so most of it was, like, majority of it was just Adelaide. So as I said, I worked at Glenelg, lucky enough to play Royal Adelaide, and then a few other golf courses around the area, but not too many. And then,
Can you rattle any of those tracks off? Do you remember them?
North Adelaide.
Yep.
Played a couple of courses there. Tanunda Pines, I think, was another one I played. That was towards the end of my time there.
Up near Barossa Valley, yep.
Yeah, and a couple of others, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, cool. Where else did you get to, mate? Well, in terms of...
So I spent most of my time in Adelaide, and then had 3 days at the end of my time there just in Sydney. Then look around in the city and just sort of doing a bit of exploring.
Typical UK tourist, you went to the beaches, right? You went to Bondi and Coogee and Manly, probably.
Didn't get down there, unfortunately. No, it was just like a quick little trip around like the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So just to see it and then heading home, like I said, within 2 or 3 days after that.
Yep. Not as much UK tourist, typical tourist in inverted commas.
No, I didn't have enough time, unfortunately.
So, mate, that's your time in Australia, greenkeeping in Glenelg, there at the golf course.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Great experience. Is that something that you hold really well, that you experienced? Is that something that you hold close to your heart?
Yeah, it's definitely like probably one of my sort of like prouder moments in my career, just of being able to say, moved out there, worked on a golf course out there, and just like the whole experience of getting to learn on like an entirely different golf course, an entirely different country and part of the world, and just see how it differs to what I'm used to back here in the UK.
Yeah, sure.
And just like I said, what I learned, it just will always put me in good stead going forward, just because of that experience. Not even just the travelling, but like I said, just being able to work on such a nice golf course and just see all that enhancement work and just be involved with it. Like I said, it's just such a special thing to be a part of.
So after Glenelg, where did you go? Where did you end up, mate? How did things play out for your career?
So it was, finishing up at Glenelg, and then was tempted to stay, but I just had to come back to the UK just for like career reasons and family as well, and then ended up back at Piltdown where I am now.
Okay, cool. So how long have you been at Piltdown now, this stint, and in total?
16 months or so, I think, now.
Yep, in the last one.
Since I've been at started at Piltdown.
Yep. And you enjoy Piltdown as a golf course?
Yeah, really nice. Like, not a very like long golf course by any means, but it's definitely got its challenges. One, the main one being all the heather that it has, and so it's quite a narrow golf course in places.
That heather's a cool feature around your greens complexes and some of the stuff I've seen some of your photos, mate. It looks unreal. Very different to anything we've got here.
Yeah. There's quite a few golf courses in the country here, but like especially like around the area that I work, there's probably 3-4 golf courses within a short distance of each other that I can think off the top of my head that will have heather as like one of the main features. But so we're unique in the sense that we've got all the heather, but not a single bunker on the golf course.
Yeah. So how does that go for golf? I'm curious. Like that just seems so bizarre to me.
It's a bit of a strange one because I think they don't mind it, which is obviously makes sense. But like since working there, I find the heather is more of a hazard than the bunker.
Oh, I imagine bunker. It would be.
Just because of like you can get bits that are like really thin and you can just hit a shot out of it, no problem. But there's some bits where it's just like one, you'd be struggling to find your ball, and if you can find your golf ball, it's such a difficult shot to get it up and towards the green or on the green. depending where you are.
I've got no doubt, mate. Absolutely. That sounds pretty wild. Now, mate, that's a great little journey of your greenkeeping career to date. Not a long one like the Richard Forsyths we have here of the world and the Tim Warrens of the world who've got an extensive greenkeeping career. But nevertheless, mate, it's your greenkeeping career and you're certainly well on the way. Tell us a bit about you're soon to go to TPC Sawgrass and to the Players Championship, which is going to be out of this world, right? So one of the things that I know, and we've been in touch on and off for a couple of years since your time here at Glenelg, is you've been doing, and I don't know what the right term is, but you're really out there doing a lot of this tournament stuff. It's like this is a second part of your greenkeeping career that you love, is doing tournament golf and volunteering. You're getting a lot of experience in really some of this high-end tournament prep around the world, not just in the UK. Tell us a bit about that, mate, because you've done a little bit of travelling for it too. Tell us some of the tournaments you've been at and what it's like to work at them.
Yeah, so the tournament sport started mainly, well, there was a few events I wanted to do before I moved to Australia, but I just could never do them just because of work commitments, and it clashed with tournaments that we had on at the courses I worked for Australia. But yeah, so what was my first sort of like major big tournament I did was the BMW PGA at Wentworth in 2023.
Yep.
And that was obviously not long after I got back from Australia. So that was the first one I did. And I'd done like a few before that, but only like 1 day events.
Okay. Yep.
Like a US Open qualifier. So I did like a couple of them, and then wanted to sort of like progress onto like bigger and better things. And then
Sure.
like the BMW PGA at Wentworth, it's every year here in the UK at Wentworth, and like Bigger, who's our greenkeeping organisation here in the UK, same as the ASMA.
Yep.
Like they like run all the volunteering side of things, so they work alongside Wentworth, and they'll advertise the volunteering team. And so you go on the Bigger website, you apply for it in about end of May, early May time, whenever it is.
Okay.
And then there's 20 people that get selected from that across the UK to go and work at Wentworth.
Wow.
So yeah, I've done it now. So I did it last year and then the year before, like I said. And then a couple of other events I've done are the Live Golf at JCB. That was last year.
Yeah, you sent me some photos from there too. That is just
it's
a
just
wild
an incredible
golf course.
Yeah.
That's sensational.
So yeah, I did Live Golf at JCB, and then a couple of months after that, in August last year, I went out to Denmark for the Danish Golf Championship, which is another DP European Tour event.
Wow, that's cool. How different's Danish golf to the UK and to Australia that you've experienced? What are their courses like, the one that you're at?
Yeah, so the one I was at, it was Greenkeeper Golf Club, probably like an hour or so north of Copenhagen, I think.
Okay.
Wasn't very far. It's kind of like sort of tucked away, but like it's similar-ish golf course style to what we get in the UK, but like very much parkland with just trees everywhere. Like
okay.
Pretty much every hole was, I mean, some of them weren't too light tree lined, but a lot of them were just very heavily tree lined.
Yep.
So, like I said, fairly similar to the UK, but some differences. And then, yeah, in terms of like comparison to Australia, like I said, some similarities, but just like surfaces wise, it's all courses and grass over there, just because the climate's a lot colder. Well, especially it's similar to the UK, but colder in places over there because it's further north.
Yeah, right. Okay, there you go. So you've done the BMW. What's it called? The BMW.
Yeah, the BMW PGA Championship.
Right.
So I've done that twice.
And so you've done that.
You've done Live Golf at JCB.
Yep.
And then the Danish Golf Championship at Lubka.
What was your favourite out of those? Which one was your favourite? Or can you not pick a favourite?
I'd probably say, probably JCB, just because of the golf course.
That's just intense.
Like, it's such a special golf course. I'd heard of it like loads in the past. It's a relatively new golf course as well. But I said I'd obviously only ever seen photos, and I remember I went up like worked Sunday before, finished work, drove up. It was about 4 hour drive from where I am in the southeast of England, and then got there on Sunday afternoon, and we went for a like little course walk just before like having our meeting with all the home staff and all
Yep.
the other volunteers. And like I said, it was like I said, walked the course in the evening with the home crew, home staff, and they were showing us around and just kind of talking about the work they'd done throughout the winter for the tournament, and like it was just like such a special golf course and just like in immaculate condition.
It certainly looked amazing on your on some of the photos you sent me, mate. Just the colours, that it just and Liv, having been to Adelaide and seen the event there every year in Adelaide for the last 3 years, is just the crowd. Is that you've been to the the BMW PGA Championship, and what's the Liv feel in the UK? Because we here in Australia, obviously the Australian one's the biggest one in the world at the moment in the Liv circuit. What was that like in the UK? Was it pretty well attended? What was the crowd feel like? How did it come across to you?
Yeah, so I think it was yeah, like so the BMW was like just kind of a typical European tour event, but it's more of a higher end one where more people will attend. But then going on from that, yeah, the Live Golf at JCB was probably wouldn't say as like I guess crazy is probably the right word of it being Live Golf as Adelaide from what I've seen on TV, but it was still a really good atmosphere. So, and I think it can only get bigger and better from there at JCB.
Looked like a great venue for
So,
Live. I mean, perfect venue, I would have said
oh
for
yeah,
Live. I don't know what it's like relative to getting to. I think there was a little bit of chatter I saw on some news articles, and that was pretty tight with some of the roads, their country roads and that sort of thing. But a bit of traffic in the local area as well. But outside that, I mean, the BMW PGA Championship would have been pretty special to be at as well for a European high level European Tour event.
yeah, definitely. And like I said it's their like flagship event on the European tour.
Yep.
So it's what is it? It's like early middle September every year. It used to be in around May time, but they moved it a few years back to September. So and then yeah, like I said, but even then, it's such a obviously again special golf course and just amazing condition. But like I said the crowds there at Wentworth are always like really big,
Yep.
especially as you get into the Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. What are some of the things you do in tournament prep? What have they got you doing, mate? And it's probably different in each place and every year. What are some of the things that you do there?
Yeah, so my first performance sport event at Wentworth in 2023, well, it was my first big tournament, so my experience wasn't as much as what it is now. So my roles were hand blowing the fairways and rough in the morning with a team of 10 to 12 people, and then divoting in the afternoon. Again, pretty big set. I think we had, first year I was there, we probably had about 60 volunteers in total. So, pretty big team considering. And then, second year I was there, which was last year, like I said before, fortunate enough to hand cut greens every
Yeah,
morning and every evening.
that's gold. What was that
So,
like? A bit of
yeah,
pressure, mate.
yeah, like a little bit of pressure, but it was like something I wanted to do just to like challenge and push myself. And like I said, having that opportunity was just so special to, again, not just work there for obviously a second year in a row, but to be able to have that privilege of being able to hand cut greens. Yeah, it was pretty special.
That's gold, mate. That's gold. Now
Yeah,
you were. I got to bring this up because that last year with the BMW PGA, you'd sent me some photos of
yeah,
the mowers that you were cutting the greens with, mate. Can you tell? I've got it's sponsored by John Deere Golf, mate. So this is a bit of a shout out to that because you'd sent me these photos and I was like, no way, because I think they'd not long been available here in Australia, mate. Tell us what they are.
Yeah, so it's the 225 E cut pedestrian mowers.
That's
So
cool. So
yeah,
these are
well,
the electric walk behind greens mowers, pedestrian ones.
yeah, full electric walk behind mower. Yeah, just an amazing bit of kit. Like I'd used like electric hand mowers before when I was out in Australia, and used a John Deere, but it was a petrol one hand mower. But yeah, this John Deere one was just like arguably the best hand mower on greens I've ever used.
That's so good. I
Just
saw
like
it. It just looked
design wise, cut,
unreal.
everything about it. It was just like just really nice to use.
Yeah, gold. Bit of experience there, mate, which is good to see. So nice to hear about it. So I
Yeah,
don't know anyone who's used it. So when you showed me that, I was like, wow, that's awesome. And no doubt I'll be able to talk about that soon as they start to get out here further into golf courses in Australia. But mate, that was pretty cool when you showed me that one. I was very impressed to see that. So it's getting out there, being shown and being used, which is at tournament golf, which is brilliant.
yeah,
What are you?
definitely.
What are your thoughts now that you've done those few tournaments over in the UK? This is a pretty special one that you're packing for right now to go to Sawgrass in the States. One, have you ever been to the US before? And two, what are the things that you're most looking forward to about being over there for this tournament?
Yeah, so like uh, been to the States before, but when I was a kid, but that was when I was like really young, so don't remember much of it, if anything at all. Yeah, just like I think having the opportunity to go out to America, work a PGA Tour event as high profile as the players at TPC Sawgrass is just like it's something I've always wanted to do. Like, so I've always watched the tournament growing up every year. It's one of my favorite events. Golf course just looks incredible. Like, again, I don't think the photos have been do it justice compared to being there in person. But yeah, like I said, it's just another. I think it's just like another sort of like level of progression on top of what I've done previously in terms of tournament support.
Sure.
So that's one of the main reasons. Kind of intrigued to see what I'll learn going out there, see what they do different to us in the UK and what I'd learned and had done in Australia when I was out there.
Sure. You obviously get some experience and you learn stuff and you see things and that's part of why you're doing these tournaments, sort of in all different parts of the world. What are some of the things that you liked that you found you get most out of doing the tournaments? I mean, what is something that you maybe not specifically, but why are you going there to do this? Because I see you doing it, you're gaining a lot of experience doing it. What is it? What is it behind it that you get out of it?
I think a lot of it, which people wouldn't necessarily see from like photos I post or talk about to other people, including yourself, is like the networking and people you meet from doing these events and sort of the opportunities going forward from that to work at either their golf course for a tournament or having a contact or knowing them who know someone to then go and work another tournament and even working like tournaments with themselves in the future, which is what I'm doing and have done. So, like I say, you get to meet loads of different people from different parts of either your own country or different country, wherever you're visiting, and even people traveling from all over the world, just to kind of go there, spend the week or two together, and everyone has that same sort of like common interest. So everyone kind of understands it, and you just learn so much from all the people involved, whether that's the home staff or the volunteers.
Is it something that you think more people should consider doing? Like when you got your first taste, and I think from memory you were just saying it was the BMW PGA Championship was the first one, big one you did. From that, are you getting more experience from it, and is it something that people should really try and think about doing more, getting into potentially themselves? Do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely like if people were either looking into it or wanting to do more of the tournament sport. I'd definitely say just go for it, and wouldn't I would also say like don't be afraid to like travel further afield than your own country, just because I think you'll learn more from it, but also the whole experience of traveling to another country or part of the world kind of adds to the whole experience
Totally, you
of
get
doing these tournaments.
a lot of worldly experience and life experience. These are all journeys and things of interest that you'll experience and gain along the way, right?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I've always kind of wanted to do it, but I didn't know kind of necessarily how to early on and what roads to go down. And then I said, the more you do it, and once I did my first tournament, it gets easier every time. And then once you've done, let's say, a handful and you know a few people, it just opens so many more doors to other tournaments and parts of the world and just makes everything easier to either apply for tournaments or just go into work somewhere because like I say, you might know that person or they might know someone who works at that course. And it's just, like I say, like I mentioned before, the networking you can gain from it is just invaluable, I think.
Absolutely, mate, and that's a big part of our industry that's so good as well. That networking, you can potentially work in anywhere on the planet, really. I've got to ask you, mate, what's somewhere, a tournament that you really would like to get to work at? I'm probably thinking of a couple that we could all think of, but what is it for you, mate?
Yeah, so I said Sawgrass was the kind of one of the main ones, which again, I'm lucky to be able to do it next week. I think moving on from that, it's probably a toss up between going to America for the like PGA Championship or like a US Open. Just 'cause I think that's
Yeah.
kind of like a next sort of progression.
Yep.
And then even something like an Australian Open, just to get that experience and see how it is out there working a tournament.
Yep.
So
Yep. What about? I've got to throw. What about the Open Championship? Is that one that you would consider being in the UK?
yeah, like definitely, I think that's definitely one for the future.
Is that a given? Something that
If
you would just say yes, of course, Steve. Just don't be silly.
Yeah, I think for me, like any major championship or like national championship, where regardless of whatever country it's in, have to say yes. I think just because not many people would get that opportunity,
That's a pretty cool thing to say.
so and especially like with it being your home major or your like national event, it's always going to be pretty special to you wherever you are in the world, regardless of what sport it is.
For sure. What about the Masters in the US? I don't know if people are
Yeah,
allowed to get
that's
into that, are they? Is that it's probably can't. Probably got to be
um,
invited.
uh, yeah. I don't. I think that's kind of that's like the end goal of it is to try and get on that. But like I said, it's at the moment it's just kind of being patient, working sort of up that progression ladder to
Sure.
hopefully get to that point. If I get to that point.
Very good, mate. Great to hear, and a lot of things there that, look, I hope people that are listening, doesn't matter where they are on the planet, obviously got a lot of Australians listening here in Oz, and I'm sure those that are doing tournaments, you've got a couple there that they might be interested in looking for further afield that you've done, like the PGA Championship, the BMW, Championship in the UK. So, mate, which is great. So thank you for sharing those stories and your insights and what you gained from doing that. Another topic that I know you've got interest in, we both got interest in, and I'll throw to this one, is mental health in the greenkeeping and sports turf space. Mate, you've jumped on, I know you listened to Nigel Taylor's Everest journey in the Dirty Dozen that he's doing, that I've talked about on the podcast here, and had Nigel on to talk about his personal challenge where he's trying to do 12 Everest climbs over the course of 2025, which is just astounding. Mate, this means something to you a little bit as well, because you've got in touch with me when you heard about this stuff, and we've talked about mental health in this industry of ours. you're backing Nigel and his thing. It means something to you. Can you tell us a little bit more of what it's like to support someone like Nigel and listen to what he's doing to put himself out there and raise awareness for mental health in our industry?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, like I said, we've spoken about it in the past, and like I've it's something that's kind of means a lot to me and kind of has done over the last probably 4 to 5 years now since I've been working as a greenkeeper. But yeah, Nigel's story, it's just like when I first heard about it, obviously through your podcast and your social medias, it was just such an inspiring story to see what he's doing for not just obviously the greenkeeping world, but just the whole world, and obviously sharing his story and obviously his challenge, which, like I said, is inspiring, and obviously what he's doing is just incredible work. And like I said, I hope he obviously carries on doing what he's doing, because obviously it's going to help a lot of people. I think more than he might know.
Yeah, yep. And we all keep talking about it. I mean, that's the biggest part, isn't it? Right,
Yeah, exactly.
Raising awareness, so we keep talking about it and supporting each other.
Yeah, I mean that's again for me is kind of the main thing of it is obviously having had my own struggles myself, both uh, in my career, but also obviously outside of that in my normal everyday life. It's just something like I said, it kind of any awareness that I can raise or share about someone else doing it is just I think it can only do more good for the sort of the stereotype around not talking about it.
Yep. And the suffering in silence.
Which I think, yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, obviously, no one should have to feel like they're alone in it, because no one is. It's just, it could even be like a 5 to 10 minute phone call or a quick text asking if someone's okay. And like I said, I've been there and done it, and not just obviously asking about myself, but like I've obviously known guys who like I can see are struggling. And like I said, a lot of the time, all it takes is just a quick, like asking how are you or if you're okay, or just like talk to them if they need to talk.
And is that something that's you say when you can see that in people? Is it genuinely something as simple as that? Just saying, hey mate, how you doing? What's going on? Is everything cool?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is kind of again maybe like reading a situation or body language, however you kind of see fit. But I think a lot of it is like guys, men, like we don't really talk about it as much as probably should. So obviously a lot of it gets bottled up, and people are just kind of dealing with their own struggles with the mental health a lot more than maybe what they should.
What's it like? And if you don't mind me asking, you talked about the fact that it's one thing to sort of ask a question and say how's somebody doing, but a lot of people with these mental health challenges, it's suffering in silence, it's bottling it up, like you just said. Is there any advice? You've been through it, mate, and I haven't. And is there any, as much as I'm supporting these inspiring stories of people like Nigel that are out there raising awareness so we can talk about it, how difficult is it for somebody who's going through those challenges to talk about it, to help themselves? What's something that they can do to help themselves? How hard? Oh no, it's not easy. So that's the hard part, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously, again, it varies person to person. But me personally, I've always kind of found just having someone to talk to, whoever it may be, just kind of helps, because it's just one way of kind of getting things like out your mind that you might be overthinking or worrying about, which I've done in the past. And even something which I've done in the past is like having like counseling sessions, just
Yep.
speaking to a trained professional about whether it's stuff at work or things at home, and even like having a good manager at work to be able to speak to about struggles at home or struggles at work, and then just obviously finding things difficult and like ways and methods to deal with it and kind of make it easier, not for just the person dealing with it, but everyone around them.
Because it's all encompassing, right? of every, like
Yeah,
you said, all the
definitely.
people close to you and that sort of stuff and those, and you're right, we don't talk about it, whether it be counselling sessions, professional people to talk to, or talking to your mates, or whatever. They're hard buttons to press, I imagine, as well. It's even the professional side of things, going out there and finding a counsellor to talk to. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I think again, it's varies person to person, like I said, but I think a lot of it is just like trial and error, see what works for yourself, because obviously what works or might work for me might not work for maybe someone like yourself
For sure.
or someone else I know. And again, a lot of it is like someone might find it easier to talk to a friend than a counsellor or vice versa. And like I said, just having like a good sort of support network around you, whether that's within your
Yep.
friends and family, I think's more important than anyone else or anything else, rather.
And it's about supporting each other, right? And we should never let anyone feel ashamed about how they feel or what they're thinking or any of that sort of stuff. It's just someone to lean on and support, and let's all help each other out. And someone like Nigel and his story is getting us talking about this right now, mate. And I really appreciate you doing so, because that wouldn't have happened last year, even. Before Nigel started this quest of his that he's doing to raise awareness, has got us chatting about it here on the podcast, which is, it's already done something here and now, and hopefully people listening to it that have gone through different parts in their lives go, you know what, if I ever get to that point again, or right now I'm at that point and I should try and talk to somebody or go and find some help and seek some support.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so obviously going back to Nigel, what he's doing with his Everest challenge, is just like I say, it's so inspiring, and obviously, like it's going to help so many more people, even in the sense of like I've done it before, of like I'll just work and work and work, and then not really prioritize sort of my life outside the work and having things to do to kind of keep myself busy or hobbies to enjoy, and I'll go through like phases where like I'll do quite a few things or just kind of keep myself occupied. But then a lot of times I'll just kind of go to work, come home, stay at home, not do a lot. And then that's where, for me, like a lot of the overthinking and anxiety and whatever else kind of builds up. And then it's obviously trying to find something to do, whether that's maybe playing golf or going out for a bike ride or going to the gym, or just something a person can do to kind of have that sort of distraction away from maybe their struggles. And obviously what Nigel's doing, it's just like, it's going to probably encourage a lot more people to do maybe let's say a challenge like a marathon, or do more exercise, or just have something to do like what he's doing to maybe raise awareness for the mental health, but just more importantly, help their own mental health by doing an activity such as, let's say, playing golf or a bike ride or whatever it may be, to help that person in whatever they enjoy.
It's funny you say that, an activity or something to just settles your mind, calms things down. I know if I ever had tough times, just in my career, and I don't know that I would say that I was ever in the category of having mental health challenges, or maybe I was and I didn't know what it was. I don't know. But if I ever felt stressed out and if I ever felt anxious about stuff, or I just didn't know how to handle things, I just needed my own time to do stuff. And what I would do for me, it would be an afternoon playing golf on the golf course, and there wasn't usually a lot of people around, and I could just go and play golf on my own, just wander the fairways, hit a ball, and I just needed a quiet space. Or the other one I'd do is go for a bit of a bushwalk up home in the Blue Mountains where I grew up and where I worked. Yeah. And I would just go to I knew a couple of lookouts that were off the beaten track that I could go and sit on. And sometimes I'd just sit there for like half an hour, and I'd just look in the distance in the space and the silence, and that would just settle me down. And I'd just feel at ease without any noise, without anything going on in my head. And that one for me did it. I know that there was a few times, like I said, a couple of lookouts that I know at home, I'd just go in there and for me it was just watching this vastness of the Blue Mountains, which is just an incredible location for those that haven't been there. But you could see for like 200 or 300 kilometres, right, in the distance across valleys that were 200-300 meters deep, and I would just remember watching flocks of cockatoos fly over the cliffs and into different pockets of forest and bush, and I don't know, that was just my thing, and it worked. And like I said, I don't even know if it was me going through a difficult time or not, but I just knew that's what I needed, and that's what I did. And everyone's got their own, and we hear Nigel, he's just going out there doing these incredibly, astonishingly personal, challenging bike rides to raise that awareness. And I go back to, here we are talking about it. So it's very individual, like you said. We're not saying to anyone, you should do this, you should do that. But to go out and lean on people, and as you said, try different things, talk to different types of people, and see where you can get that help and support that you need from. And here we are chatting about it. So thank you to Nigel and what he's doing. And I hope definitely. He listens to this. And here we are. I'm on one side of the planet. You're on the other side of the planet. We're 12 hours apart. One's day, one's night. And we're talking about a topic linked because of what Nigel's doing. And our industry goes through a lot of it. Men go through a lot of it. But it's not just that. It's not just men. And we've got lots of women in our industry now. It's increasing all the time. So... Look, I appreciate you talking about it, mate, because like you said, it means something to you, and I knew that, and that's why I wanted to you'd mentioned about Nigel's story, so I just thought it was something that we could talk about as well, to talk to the public who are listening, the audience that are listening, and raise awareness in this way as well, mate. So thank you for talking about your own challenges as well, mate. I really appreciate that.
No worries at all. And like I said, obviously, thank you to Nigel, because, like I said, I have spoken about it before, but like I said, I think, obviously, more because of him, it just makes it easier, because he just seeing what he's going through and what he's doing, just like I said, it inspires you to kind of either do more things to help it with it, or just speak about it more. And like I said, it can only do good.
Yep.
And like I said, obviously, I was speaking about it, like you say, it's just, that's obviously what he wants. Well, one of the main things he wants from doing that challenge is just raising the awareness and just helping as many people as he can. But yeah, no worries. Cheers, Dave.
Absolutely, mate. And look, Josh, mate, it's been great. You got the players. When do you fly out?
Fly out tomorrow morning to Dublin, and then flying out on Friday midday.
To the US.
So it's,
game on.
So
you'll have to share some photos.
2 days away.
Have to share some photos, mate, so I can put them up. Exactly when this will go out will probably be, it may well be during it. What's the date that it's on? I don't even know the dates. When's the players on? Following weekend.
It starts on the 11th or 12th of March, I think.
Yeah, okay. There you go. So this might be right on time.
Yeah.
You'll be able to send me some photos, mate, and we'll be able to share some things up where we can. Josh, mate, thank you so much for joining me on Keeper of the Greens on the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. It's great. I appreciate your time from the other side of the world. Travel safe, mate. Enjoy the players. Enjoy the superstars that are going to be out there on course. And I'm sure they appreciate, as they always say, they appreciate what all the greenkeepers do and preparing the courses for them. Mate, it's been great having you on. We've finally got to have this chat. I really appreciate you sharing your parts of your greenkeeping journey here in Australia, in the UK, where you've been in tournaments and everything in between, mate. So thank you, and I really appreciate you sharing your story, mate, to everyone listening.
No worries. Thank you, Steve. Actually, it's been a pleasure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a great conversation that was with Josh Smith, greenkeeper from the UK, travelling around the world doing tournament golf, and currently a greenkeeper at Piltdown Golf Club there in the UK. Thank you, Josh, for that conversation, and really appreciate your openness, mate, and your insights into your career and also your personal challenges there as well when we're talking about mental health. But, mate, it's really great to have you on the podcast, and hopefully everyone following gets to really get a few things out of it. You heard Josh talk about tournament golf and what he gets out of it as well. If you've considered doing that type of thing, why not go for it? Look at where it's taken Josh around the world and the places that he's gone to for tournament golf, let alone going out and doing something different and coming to Australia from the UK. So plenty of options there that Josh has done. And I'm sure lots of you out there, young greenkeepers, have considered different types of moves to do in your career. And I think Josh has got some great things there that you can look into. And hey, maybe you want to reach out to Josh as well and have a yarn with him. Look, one thing that we forgot to mention is Josh's handle on Instagram. If you want to follow Josh and or just get in touch with him, go and you can check him out at Adventures in Greenkeeping. Adventures_in_greenkeeping. Josh Smith is his name, and that's his account handle at Adventures in Greenkeeping. And go and check him out. He's got some great stuff, doing some great imagery and photography now on socials as well with some of the places that he's been. And of course, he's at TPC Sawgrass right now, preparing the course for the players. And he's going to be posting some great stuff too with his adventure over there. Thank you everyone for listening. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this new bonus episode of John Deere Golf Keeper of the Greens with Josh Smith. Don't forget to please leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. A review is fantastic. I really would appreciate it. Make sure you check out John Deere Golf as well. Deere.com.au, that's DEERE.com.au, and check out their GPS spray units. Get in touch with them to find out more. And if you're looking at updating your spray units in your fleet, you want to go on. These need to be in the conversation if you haven't already got them in your head, because they are outstanding units. So, and of course, there's lots of clickables in the show notes. There's going to be plenty of things there for you to look into and click into further in as well, along with obviously Nigel Taylor's quest, his personal challenge that he's out there for the year of 2025 doing his Everesting challenging to raise awareness for mental health in the greenkeeping and sports turf industries. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with it. Once again, you hit him clean, we'll keep him green, and I'll catch up with you next week.